stay here. The duration, right?
Yeah. Yeah, we're here for the duration, but like I say, it's a learning.
Hey, Orlando.
Testing. All right, great. Well, thank you all for being so patient and for coming tonight. It's so nice to see some faces, wonderful faces. And how many of you have not been to an IANDS meeting before? Hey, wonderful. Okay. Everybody's been here. So anyways, welcome. And you would probably already know the definition of a near-death experience. Your heart does not have to have stopped, because mountain climbers can fall off a mountain, and before they've hit the ground, they've had a life review, but they can still live. Their heart doesn't have to stop. And then these are the principles we abide by to have a safe, neutral environment for sharing experiences and to support mutual respect for experiencers' individual uniqueness. While we may not have had the same experience as the person talking, we can still listen and validate their experience. And we don't endorse any particular doctrine, religion. We stay neutral. So we have different membership levels. If you'd like to join, there's various benefits to each, and the basic is only $30, and you get quite a bit for that. We are going to have a conference that will be in Denver. It's actually Westminster, a suburb of Denver, and Mark Anthony's going to be a speaker. He's a psychic lawyer. He's also a medium. And Meetup, if you want to know about any of our meetings, you can sign up at www.meetup.com/Durham-RT-IANDS, and you'll get all the notifications. I did want to mention that our next meeting, usually our meetings are every third Thursday, but our next meeting, we're going to make it the fourth Friday. I think it's the fourth Friday, but it's the 24th. And that's because we have a very special speaker, Jeff Olson. And I should probably see if somebody wants to give a testimonial to him. We were just hearing about that. Do you want to say just a couple sentences?
Yeah, I mean, Jeff Olson is a near-death experiencer. He basically was in a car accident that he probably caused himself, lost one of his young sons, another son survived, and his wife died in the accident as well. And they talk about the kind of shared death experience that they have, but he is a great speaker and a really interesting story, so I was very excited to see that he will be coming here, and would strongly recommend, if you can get there, get there.
Thanks, Jeff. So we are going to sell tickets for this, and mostly that's to help pay for his way here and everything. So, and then we're going to have it at Eno River Unitarian Universalist Church, so we can make sure we have enough space. And here's another picture of him, because he's going to do a workshop for 2 hours the very next day, on Saturday. So we will not be here next third Thursday. We're going to have this event happen. And these are 2 of the books that he had written. I Knew Their Hearts, and that was because as he's in the hospital and they were talking about removing his leg, he was actually walking, his etheric body was walking through the hospital, and he could feel what everyone else's heart felt, what their hopes were, what their disappointments were. So it's very interesting. And Beyond Mile Marker 80, you can talk to Jeff, he read that book after. I did want to mention, if anybody would like to participate in this study, Dr. Jan Holden, she's one of our past presidents, she's wanting to know if anybody would click on this link, and I meant to print out the papers, but I can certainly send it to anybody if they want, because she wants to know if anybody's had any after-death communications. And so this is a study. I think it's mostly her students that are doing this, but yeah, if you'd like to participate, she'd be glad to have you. And now comes to our favorite part, the guest speaker. So let me just read a little bit about Sandy. Oh, and cell phones, if anybody has cell phones, if they turn off. And bathrooms. Bathrooms are just around the corner there, not very far at all. So in her incredible life journey, Sandy Briggs, a near-death experiencer and multiple spiritually transformative experiencer, discovers new insights about life and the afterlife through empirical spiritual experiences. As Sandy diligently searched for truth, she experienced a series of spiritual awakenings. Meeting God in the light, well, I guess I won't tell that part, because she's going to tell that part. So she's written 2 books, and she's actually going to donate 2 of them when we have the raffle after. So 2 of her books are going to be given away, so we can thank Sandy for that. She's a board member of ASSIST, which stands for the American Center for the Integration of Spiritually Transformative Experiences. She's the co-leader of the Winston-Salem group, Triad IANDS support group. She worked for the school system as a payroll clerk. She's been a substitute teacher and hospice volunteer. And she was also involved with her church as a Sunday school superintendent, teacher, and youth leader. She's married with 2 grown children and 1 grandchild. So you would welcome Sandy Briggs.
Thank you for inviting me here. It's my pleasure to share my experiences with you. Can you hear me? Okay. All right. Let's see, put these up here. Away. Okay. I had many experiences even as a child, and when I was young, I didn't understand what it was, and I guess my first experience is I saw a ghost, and it scared me. And I remember in the night, I saw this ghost. I was upstairs, and my father refurbished the attic into 2 bedrooms for me and my brother. And this ghost, in the middle of the night, I just opened my eyes and saw it moving. And I'm looking and trying to figure out who it is. And then when I could see through it, I realized it was a ghost. And I was so afraid that I pulled up my blankets up over my head because I didn't want it to see me. I was trying to hide from it. And I didn't know what to do because I was so scared. And I finally said, I want to count. Because I was under 5 years old. You know, I was maybe 2 or 3. And so I counted until I finally fell off to sleep. And then when I woke up the next morning, I found myself with my hand still up over my head with the blanket. And I realized, well, you know, it triggered my memory that night before of I saw the ghost. So I ran downstairs and I told my mom, and she said, oh, you would have screamed or something. Not me. I didn't want it to know that I was there, that I saw it. But I kept trying to tell her, you know, I wanted her to believe me. But she just thought it was a very strong dream. So I soon discovered that these are things that I can share with her because she wasn't open to spirituality, anything like that. And I've had a few other experiences that I just didn't share with anyone. I kept to myself. And I would always think about them, but then I would just not share it and just kept it in the back of my mind in a file cabinet somewhere, locked the door. And I just would ponder, you know, how did that happen? What was this? And when I got to be about 10 years old, we weren't the type of family that went to church regularly. So I asked my mother, I said, why don't we go to church? And my mother thought about it, and she soon afterwards started taking me to my grandmother's church because she attended regularly. And so we went for about 1 to 2 years, and then because of personal problems, we stopped again. But I was still interested, and so I kind of read the Bible on my own. And then as one day when I'm around 10 years old, I started thinking about my future and what I wanted, because all my life, through the first 10 years, and still afterwards, I always felt like there's something missing in my life. I felt like there's a big hole in my heart, and I didn't know how to feel it. I always felt like something was missing. And so I thought, well, in the future, you know, what do I want for my husband? And I thought I wanted to find someone who would help make me feel whole. And so I thought about the things that I respected and loved in other people that I didn't have. What was I missing? And what was important to me is I wanted him to be open to God, but I wanted him to be a leader because I was more of a follower. And I was more timid. I'm very shy. So it's amazing that I'm up here speaking with you because I am nervous. So please bear with me. So my mother, going back to my husband, when I met him, he was all the things that I said that I was looking for. He was very, he went to church regularly every Sunday, and he was not afraid to speak. He was very secure in himself, and he was interested in other cultures, and I wanted to raise my children with a husband who was open. You know, I didn't want them to be prejudiced or anything like that. And so when I met him, he was these things that I had thought about that I wanted for my future. And so when I met him, I was surprised that he was the things that I had asked for. And so I married him. But then we got along great for the first 2 years. And then as soon as I got pregnant, things changed. And my husband has OCD, obsessive compulsive disorder. And he told me before I married him that he had it. So I didn't see any problems with it, because he was very kind and he was a gentleman. He would open doors for me, and we got along great. But when I became pregnant, he started obsessing over making sure I won't get hurt, and just everything. He would have thoughts. You know, a lot of people wash their hands a lot. That's one thing he didn't do. He didn't wash his hands a lot. But he would think about things, and before he'd leave the house, he would go through his routines and over again. But, I mean, I could handle that, you know. It's different, you know, but I could handle that. But then when I became pregnant, he got even worse. And he started interrogating me every day when he came home from work. He would ask me, did I see anybody? Did I go anywhere? Did anybody call? What did they say? What did you say? It just went on and on and on. And he would get angry sometimes. He had trouble controlling his anger. So anyways, I didn't know what to do with this. I didn't want this life. I didn't want to have someone who was controlling. He was a very dominant person, and I was, you know, not quiet. And so it was hard for me to deal with this because he wasn't like this when we dated. But as soon after I had our first child, my son, it became even worse, and I didn't know how to deal with it. And I became so depressed, I didn't want to live anymore. And I came at night one day, I prayed to God with all my heart. I said, I had enough. I don't want to live anymore. But there's something inside me. I didn't want to commit suicide, but I thought about it. And I would think, well, how should I do it? You know, and think about the different ways. But something inside said, no, I just can't do it. So I just prayed to God. I said, I don't want to live another day. And I just thought, close the book. My life's over. No more pain. That's it. And so that's what I was expecting. And I cried myself to sleep. And then I woke up in the middle of the night, expecting myself to be, waking up in my bed. But I was in the light. I don't know how I got there, and I'm trying to figure out, where am I? It was so bright, it was like I was inside the sun. And I couldn't figure out, how did I get here? Where am I? And there's a door right in front of me, and it had two doors that pushed open like that. And I said, what door is this? I don't recognize it. And at that time, I was kneeling on down, and my head was face down. And then when I got up to look up the door, trying to figure out where I am, there was an opening on each side, in each of the doors. And when I got up, I don't even know how I got from my knees to now I'm standing, and I'm looking through this opening. And it wasn't any glass, it was clear. And I looked through, and right in front on the other side was God. And the doors invited me in. And as soon as the doors cracked open, I heard the most beautiful music. And I don't know anything on earth that sounded as beautiful as that. And I was so excited because I didn't expect this. And here is God. And I was so excited and just surprised, shocked. And all I wanted to do was rush up there and just hug him. And when I thought that, God looked at me and he went and he held his hands out to me. And I just went straight out. I remember running. I just went and I leapt into his arms and he held me. I've never felt anything so much love in all my life. And I was just, it was so, there's no words to describe that. But when we embraced, he felt like energy, like electricity. And this sort of surging energy. And I could see myself looking at him like in different views at the same time. Like I was on his chest, embracing him, and then I was looking into his face, and I was way back behind at the same time looking at him. And I was spinning from one view to the other so fast that I was getting dizzy. And as I was thinking that, all of a sudden it stopped. It's like God knew this, and so he stopped because I was really confused. I thought I would faint or something. And so I wondered, well, how did I get here? I'm in heaven. I must have died. So I said, well, how did I die? I don't remember being sick or anything. It didn't even cross my mind that night before that I had prayed to die. I didn't want to live another day. It didn't even cross my mind. So I'm trying to figure out how did I get here, and I had to have died to be in heaven. And so I'm thinking it must have been quick, like a bomb or something. It must have blew up my whole house, my town. What blew up is how about the world? What happened with all the things that goes on in the world with all these wars? I started tribulating about what happened, and I worried that the whole world was gone.